Is it the first time that the Chinese Coast Guard became very aggressive in Pagasa Island?
Developments are on track in Pagasa Island as the Philippines strengthens military facilities.
Is Pagasa Island inside the Philippines' 200 nautical mile exclusive economic zone? Here's where it gets interesting. Pagasa Island sits about 270 nautical miles, roughly 500 kilometers, from Palawan. That places it beyond the Philippines' standard 200 nautical mile EEZ measured from the mainland. But that doesn't automatically take it out of the picture, because Pagasa isn't just a reef or a rock. It has a permanent civilian population and a naturally formed landmass. Under international law, that matters. As an inhabited island, it generates its own 12 nautical mile territorial sea measured from its shoreline. That legal distinction strengthens the Philippines' claim and solidifies its presence in the area. Now let's zoom out. Pagasa is part of the Calayan Island group, which itself lies within the larger and highly contested Spratly Islands in the South China Sea. The Spratlys are not a single island. They're a vast scatter of reefs, shoals, atolls, sandbanks, and tiny islets spread across roughly 409,000 square kilometers of ocean. Many of them are submerged at high tide, and nearly all are claimed, in whole or in part, by multiple countries. The Calayan Island Group is the name the Philippines uses for the features it occupies and administers. It forms the municipality of Calayan under Palawan Province, the Philippines' westernmost province facing the West Philippine Sea. But here's an important distinction. The Calayan Island Group is not the same as the entire Spratly Islands. The Spratlys include more than 130 features. Only a portion of them are occupied by the Philippines. Among the key Philippine-held features are Pagasa, Thitu Island, the largest Philippine-controlled island, Lawak Island, Patag Island, Likas Island, Kota Island, Panada Island, Parola Island, Ayungin Reef, Rizal Reef. Pagasa itself covers about 37 hectares, roughly the size of 50-plus soccer fields. Small in size, yes, but strategically, massive. For comparison, the largest naturally occurring island in the Spratlys is Taiping Island, Ituaba, about 36 hectares, controlled by Taiwan. Vietnam controls Spratly Island, Storm Island, around 15 hectares. Control across the Spratlys is divided. Vietnam occupies the most features, at least 21, and has rapidly expanded artificial land on them. China controls 7 major reefs, all heavily militarized with runways, radar systems, missile shelters, and deep water ports. These include Fiery Cross Reef, Subi Reef, and Mischief Reef. Malaysia holds 5 features in the southeastern area. Taiwan controls Taiping Island. The Philippines occupies 9 main features under the Calayan Island Group. In recent years, Vietnam has accelerated its land reclamation efforts. By 2026, all of its occupied features include artificial land, a dramatic expansion compared to just a few years earlier. Meanwhile, China's 7 major outposts remain the largest and most militarized artificial islands in the region. Despite a landmark 2016 international arbitration ruling that invalidated China's sweeping claims over most of the South China Sea, Beijing rejected the decision and continued fortifying its positions. Coast Guard vessels and maritime militia ships frequently patrol contested areas, including waters near Pagasa. This is why Pagasa often finds itself surrounded by foreign vessels, sometimes visible from the shore with the naked eye. The Philippines formally annexed Pagasa, also known as Thitu Island, in 1978, declaring it part of its westernmost territory. Today it serves as the seat of the municipality of Calayan. Around 400 residents live there, including civilians, local officials, soldiers, and law enforcement personnel. Despite its modest size, Pagasa sits near vital maritime trade routes. Its position gives it enormous strategic weight, especially amid rising tensions in the South China Sea and the broader US-China rivalry. So, is Pagasa within the Philippines' 200 nautical mile EEZ from Palawan? Not exactly. But because it is an inhabited, naturally formed island under Philippine administration, it generates its own territorial sea and serves as a crucial foothold in one of the most contested waters on Earth. Small island, big stakes, and the story of Pagasa is far from over. Pagasa Island sits in one of the most dangerous neighborhoods on the planet. It's just one of many features in the Spratly Islands, a scattered chain of reefs, shoals, and tiny islands claimed by multiple countries. Vietnam, Malaysia, Brunei, and Taiwan all assert claims in these waters. But the biggest and most powerful claimant is China. And China is close, very close. Its massive military base on Subi Reef is only about 22 kilometers, roughly 14 miles, from Pagasa. That base isn't just a symbolic outpost. It's equipped with missile shelters, gun emplacements, advanced radar systems, and hangars for fighter jets. And Subi isn't alone. Mischief Reef and Fiery Cross Reef, also heavily fortified by China, are nearby. From these bases, Chinese aircraft, naval vessels, and drones regularly patrol and monitor activity around Pagasa and other contested features. This didn't happen overnight. Around 2014, Beijing launched rapid, large-scale land reclamation across 7 features in the Spratlys. Fast forward more than a decade, and those once submerged reefs are now full-scale military installations. Together they form a network of forward operating bases that dramatically expand China's intelligence, surveillance, and strike capabilities across the South China Sea. Runways, deep water ports, radar domes, missile systems. Pagasa now sits at the edge of that expanding footprint. Some analysts believe China's military presence could one day support the enforcement of an Air Defense Identification Zone, or ADIZ, over the region. But even without formally declaring one, Beijing already uses these bases to exert de facto control, especially over key fishing grounds and flashpoints like Scarborough Shoal, Bajo de Masinloc, and Second Thomas Shoal, Ayungin Shoal. In recent months, tensions around these areas have intensified. Close encounters at sea, water cannon incidents, near collisions between ships, dangerous aerial intercepts, and neither side appears willing to back down. That's why the Philippines has been strengthening its foothold on Pagasa. Manila has upgraded infrastructure on the island, building a sheltered port, a beaching ramp for vessels, an aircraft hangar, a Philippine Coast Guard station, and an improved runway capable of handling military cargo aircraft. The island now serves as a critical staging ground for operations in the West Philippine Sea. Strategically, Pagasa provides depth, a forward buffer that helps shield mainland Palawan, which lies hundreds of kilometers to the east. Despite its modest size, just 37 hectares, Pagasa carries outsized importance. It has a permanent civilian population. It is naturally formed land. Under international law, it generates its own 12 nautical mile territorial sea. Location is everything. Pagasa lies just west of Lawaida Bank and only 14.4 miles from Subi Reef, one of China's most heavily militarized outposts. Increased air traffic in the area has raised concerns about potential accidents between Chinese and Philippine aircraft, especially as both sides step up patrols. China's artificial island network in the Spratlys now spans thousands of hectares. Several bases, particularly Fiery Cross Reef, Subi Reef, and Mischief Reef, feature 3,000-meter runways capable of handling advanced military aircraft, including long-range bombers. These airstrips allow China to project power across nearly the entire South China Sea. For neighboring claimants like Vietnam, the Philippines, and Taiwan, that expansion changes the balance of power. Beijing insists the area is part of its historic territory. The Philippines strongly rejects that claim, citing international law and a 2016 arbitration ruling that invalidated China's sweeping assertions. The United States has also voiced support for Manila's position, further raising the geopolitical stakes. So Pagasa may look small on a map, but in reality, it sits at the center of a strategic chessboard, where military power, national sovereignty, global trade routes, and superpower rivalry all intersect. And in this high-stakes contest, every reef, every runway, and every mile matters. With tensions rising, Manila isn't standing still. New troop deployments and infrastructure projects are now in the pipeline as part of a broader strategy to reinforce Pagasa Island and other key positions in the West Philippine Sea. The government has already set aside funding this year for both civilian and military upgrades, including the development of a small airport. Beyond strengthening defenses, these projects are also expected to generate jobs and improve daily life for residents on the island. But this isn't just about construction. One of the core missions of Philippine forces stationed on Pagasa is surveillance, closely monitoring Chinese military activity in nearby waters and airspace. The goal is clear: deter further encroachment and prevent any additional unlawful territorial grabs. That urgency intensified in April when China Coast Guard personnel briefly raised their national flag on Sandy Key, a tiny sandbar just over 3 kilometers from Pagasa, in what many viewed as a symbolic assertion of sovereignty. The incident made international headlines and reignited calls within the Philippines to rapidly boost Pagasa's defensive capabilities. Officials have emphasized that time is not a luxury. A stronger Pagasa could serve as a strategic counterweight to China's fortified positions at Subi Reef, Mischief Reef, and Johnson Reef, all heavily built-up artificial islands in the Spratly chain. In the future, Pagasa could also host more advanced military assets, including unmanned systems and drone technologies, as the Philippines studies modern battlefield lessons, including the extensive use of drones seen in Ukraine. While Philippine forces frequently conduct joint exercises with allies like the United States, Japan, and Australia, there are currently no joint drills held directly on or around Pagasa. Officials say this is a deliberate move to avoid further escalating tensions with Beijing. But defense is only one pillar of Manila's strategy. Pagasa is unique in the Spratlys because it has a permanent civilian population, a crucial factor in strengthening territorial claims under international law. To encourage more Filipinos to settle there, the government offers subsidized food, housing, healthcare, and education. Despite its remote location, roughly 300 kilometers west of mainland Palawan, families continue to live and build lives on the island. Legally, the Philippines anchors its position on a landmark ruling issued on July 12, 2016, under the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, UNCLOS. In that arbitration case between the Philippines and China, an international tribunal overwhelmingly ruled in Manila's favor, invalidating China's sweeping claims in the South China Sea. Beijing rejected the decision, but the ruling remains legally binding under international law. To reinforce that victory domestically, the Philippines passed the Maritime Zones Act in November 2024. This law aligns Philippine legislation with UNCLOS and the 2016 arbitral ruling. It formally defines the country's internal waters, archipelagic waters, territorial sea, contiguous zone, exclusive economic zone, EEZ, and continental shelf. Its purpose is straightforward but powerful. Clearly establish the geographic extent of Philippine maritime zones and spell out the sovereign rights Manila can exercise within them. Under the law, the Philippines claims a 12 nautical mile territorial sea, a 24 nautical mile contiguous zone, a 200 nautical mile exclusive economic zone, and continental shelf. Waters west of the archipelago within that 200 nautical mile zone are officially designated as the West Philippine Sea. Beyond that, the broader body of water remains internationally known as the South China Sea. The Maritime Zones Law also lays the groundwork for updating the country's official administrative maps, specifically identifying the Calayan Island Group, Scarborough Shoal, Macclesfield Bank, the West Philippine Sea, and Benham Rise. Officials say the law does more than draw lines on a map. It provides a legal foundation to protect marine resources, assert sovereign rights, clarify jurisdiction, strengthen environmental safeguards, support future maritime negotiations. It also serves as Manila's formal response to China's 10-line map released in 2023, which claims nearly the entire South China Sea as Chinese territory, overlapping with the EEZs of the Philippines, Malaysia, Brunei, Vietnam, and even Indonesia. Looking ahead, the Philippines may pursue further diplomatic steps, including maritime boundary negotiations with neighboring Southeast Asian states, and potentially new international legal actions, particularly on environmental damage in contested waters. At its core, this is about more than one island. It's about sovereignty. It's about maritime rights. It's about control over vital sea lanes and natural resources. Pagasa may be small, but it sits at the center of a geopolitical storm, where military strategy, international law, and national identity all collide. And in that storm, every runway built, every law passed, and every civilian family that chooses to stay carries weight.